Welcome to the Nancy B. Inspired Show. I am Nancy DeLeonardi, and I am your host here on this channel where I help you with health, wellness, fitness, Zumba, meditation, recipes, and anything that I have done in my life to help you live your best life. So welcome in. I am so happy that you are here today, and I am super excited about the topic that I want to talk to you about today because it is near and dear to my heart. I feel that, I should say I have seen it help not only myself, but thousands of people in my lifetime being involved with this community. And I know that it is powerful and impactful. And my mission here is to help everyone live their best life. And the one thing that we need to do first and foremost is take care of our health. And so what I'm going to talk to you about is Zumba Fitness. And I want to share with you the background of it and so much information about it to help you, step into a classroom and take a class because it is as important to me. I feel health and wellness is as important as eating, sleeping, breathing, and meditation. So I'm going to share with you today all the things that I know about Zumba Fitness and why you should give it a go. So let's go. Welcome to this episode of Why Zumba Fitness. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about why you should try, and I believe every person on the planet should try Zumba Fitness. So I want to, demystify all the myths that you've heard out there about it and that you have to have, dance background and it's complicated and it's only for women and you have to be experienced in it and, so on and so forth. I am going to break it down for you because becoming a Zumba instructor is something that I did after being a Zumba participant for over 9 years. So I fell in love with the program. I'm going to tell you why, but I want you to know that it's out there for everyone from, 0 to 99. There's a class out there for you and you can take it. So I want to give you, 3 main focuses of my conversation with you today and the topic. And so number 1, I'd like to talk to you about the origin of Zumba and how it began. So it began with a fitness instructor, and his name is Beto Perez. And he was a group fitness instructor who had, back in the day, cassettes, okay? We didn't have iPods or iPads. They were cassettes, and you put the cassette in and you press play and it ran the tape of the music. And so this was our form of music back, in the, 80s, 90s. So Beto Perez went to teach his class one day and he forgot his cassette tape for his fitness class. So he was a student in College of Dance. He was going to college for dance, Latin dance. And so he was in Colombia, the country of Colombia at the time, and he taught fitness classes to supplement his income while he was in college. So one day he forgot his cassette, and the only music that he had, and this, by the way, is a fitness instructor's nightmare, is not to have their music and not to have their playlist. It will spiral you down a panic streak because that is your lifeline to your class. So he was resourceful. It went to his car and he pulled out the music that he had for his college courses, which were Latin music, and Latin dances. Latin dances meaning there's salsa, cumbia, merengue, and reggaeton. Those are like the fundamental, Latin dance types. And then there are more, there's samba, there's cha-cha-cha, and there are more that we can talk about. But on this particular day, he went to his car and he improvised his fitness class by using his college music. And so when he came back the next week, of course, he had his music, his typical music, and he went to play the music and start the class. And the participants of the class wanted what he played the week before. They enjoyed the Latin version more than the version that he had been using. So by accident, if you will, that is where Zumba began. It began with give the people what they want, and the people that attended his classes really liked the improvisation, right? They liked the class and the music that he provided and improvised with. And that was the beginning of it. And as that class word got out of what he was teaching, his class grew and grew and grew. And, then he brought it to America, Miami. He partnered with another Beto who was a, well-known marketing person. And then it just moved into what it is today. And Zumba today is in, I believe, 180 countries. So it is literally a movement. It is not a fitness fad. It is a movement. And the music I want to tell you in Zumba is never translated. How the music is rolled out is the way that it stays. So if the music and the choreography that Zumba rolls out is sung in Spanish, it stays in Spanish all over the world. So you can go on vacation to Paris, France, and you can go and take a Zumba class in Paris, France, and that song will be the same. Nothing gets changed into another language. So the beauty of it is, no matter what country you're from, no matter what language you speak, Zumba is the universal Zumba language. Now, the variety there comes from Beto Perez. He always said, and I've been to, they're called, the Zumba conventions, right? And I've attended 4 of those in my career with Zumba. And, he talks about how, he's one person and he's only one person who could teach Zumba, and he grew it to what it was in the beginning. And he looked at all of his instructors and people who became instructors to be him. And I was in a class where he said, I need you to be me. And I need you to go into the classroom and teach like you're me. And I channeled that. When I taught classes, when I went back, I'm like, I'm Beto, because Beto can't be here. And I'm going to teach the class the way that he taught me at Zumba convention. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring it to the people. And actually it served me very well, because I did, and do still have a following very committed to the program, just because of the way that it's taught. And it was taught by him. And so I taught it the way that he rolled it out. But when you are a Zumba instructor, you are given options, right? So Zumba, Beto is still the lead person in Zumba Fitness, and he creates choreography, or he has a team too that creates choreography, and they will roll out a Zen, right? It's a Zen session. It's called Zumba Instructor Network. And, there are songs that they roll out in that edition of it that comes with choreography, right? So it comes with choreography, and then there's an alternate choreography. And so you get that information, and we pay for it, right? But you get that, from Zumba Fitness, where you don't have to think yourself. All you have to do is learn the steps, learn the music, and then bring it to your class. That's option 1. And Zumba gives you 2 choreography options, so you could do that. But the beauty of what Zumba also does is, because Beto Perez is a creator and a dancer, he allows, again, he wants all Zumba instructors to be mini him. And so he allows them to create their own choreography to the music. So he allows them to be creative. And if it is a salsa song, salsa has its steps, right? But you can switch up the way that you put those steps in the song as a Zumba instructor. So when you go into a class, now I'm talking about basic Zumba here, but this is applicable to all the Zumba formats that I'll talk about in a little bit. But you can go into a class anywhere in the world, and if that instructor rolls out that song the way that Zumba rolled it out, then you're going to go in and you're going to know the steps right off the bat, because it's the exact same thing. Now, if that Zumba instructor has changed it and they've put in their own flavor, we call, then again, you can follow it, because the fundamental of Zumba, which makes it so beautiful for everyone to learn, is because Zumba follows the fundamentals of music. So when there is a song that's put out there, it has a foundation, if you will, that every song follows. So there's an intro, there's a chorus, there's a verse, then there's the chorus again, there's another verse, there could be a run, The run is what's different in the song. So the verse is the verse. It's telling you the story. The chorus is the same thing. The chorus is coming, the same group of words in the lyrics. Then there's the verse, the same group of words in the chorus. Then there's another verse. Then the chorus again. The run is the thing that's different. Then it goes back to the chorus. And then, then there's the outro. Okay. So what that means is, at a very high level, is the steps that you see in the song that go with the chorus. Those steps are going to be the same every time the chorus comes up in the song. So you hear that in the song, that. So your first time in class, those are the steps for that. Then the verse comes, right? So there's steps with the verse. Then you go back to the chorus. Those are the steps you just did in the first part, the chorus. It goes back to another verse. The words are different, but the steps are the same, because it's a verse. Then it goes back to the chorus again. So now you're 3 times, you're doing the same steps of the chorus, right? Then the run. The run is the thing that's a little bit different. Nobody knows what's coming because it's completely different. Then you go back to the chorus and then the verse and the outro. And the outro can change just a tad. But that's the fundamental of Zumba and why it's easy to catch on, because it's coming again. It's coming again. It's coming again. The other beauty of Zumba is that you don't have to follow it if you don't get it, as long as you're moving. The premise of Zumba and why it is a movement is to get people physically active and have fun. So it's a party. It's not a fitness class. I can tell you that I have taught classes. What do you think of when you think of a party? What do you think of, right? You think of fun, loud music, neon clothes, maybe party clothes, fun clothes. Everybody's happy. That's what Zumba brought to the fitness industry. That's what it brought. It brought fun, so that you are having so much fun that you don't even realize that you're working out and that the class is over. And I cannot tell you how many times people are like, well, that went by fast. That was so much fun. That's what brings people back to Zumba Fitness, is the fun aspect of it. The health aspect of it, so I'm going to go there. So I've given you the origin of Zumba and the breakdown of the Zumba classes, right? Now, I'll just touch on this really quickly before I go into the health and benefits of it, because this is going to piggyback off of what I'm going to share right now, which is Zumba Fitness started with Zumba dance, Latin dance classes. That's how it started. I shared the story with you. But Beto Perez, being a fitness instructor, always wanted to bring this mentality of party and into other aspects of fitness, right? So there's Zumba toning, because people lift weights. So how can people tone a little bit in a Zumba class? Now, they're very light weights. They're not even, I think 3 pounds is probably the max, right? So they're 0.5 pound to 2.5 pound weights. And so as you're doing the Zumba song, you have these toning bars, they're called, that you do in class. So there is Zumba toning. There is aqua Zumba, where you do it in the pool. So the instructor is out on the deck, out of the water. The students are in the water, and they're doing the dance moves in the water, right? So you have low impact there. And actually, that is one of my favorites, but they're kind of all my favorite classes. Then there is Zumba step. So step class, he brought it to step class. So no one ever thought of doing salsa on a step or reggaeton on a step, cumbia on a step. We did that, and we brought it to you in a Zumba step class. People loved that class. That is one of the classes that I taught that people really loved and still ask me for that to this day. Then there's Zumba Gold. Zumba Gold is for either someone recovering from a surgery that maybe they can't go back to fitness Zumba like they could before. Maybe they're healing, they've injured themselves, they have to take it down a little bit. Or maybe for seniors, or people that are challenged physically a little bit. This is a Zumba class for them. There's not a lot of, it's just taken down, if you will. There's still the health and cardio benefit to it, but it's just toned down just a little bit. Now, I will tell you that in all Zumba classes, a really good instructor is going to give everybody an option. That is a really good instructor. You are teaching to the newest person in the class, not the most seasoned person in the class, but you have to address everyone in the class. So no matter what class you take, you have to feel comfortable enough and shown your options. So look for that in a Zumba instructor. And then there's Zumba Bambini, it used to be called, which was for infants and babies, where there's like mobility that you can, do little Zumba with them for fitness. And then there's kids fitness for children. I believe that went up to ages 13, maybe 6 to 13, and that's for children. And, then there's Strong by Zumba. And I believe it's just called Strong now. And that is their HIT class, which is reversed engineering, where they take the music and they do HIT to it. So Zumba has taken the party and sync to the beat, which is what the foundation of Zumba is that all of the steps are synced to the music. That is the foundation of it. And they've taken it to every probably genre that there is out there. They never took it to cycle, I guess, because, it just doesn't work on a bike. But everything else in the fitness world, because Beto Perez is a fitness person himself, and he took all of these classes, and that's what he said. He went into a HIIT class. He's like, how can I bring Zumba here? He went to a step class. How can I turn this into Zumba here? He went to, lifting weights. How can I bring Zumba here? That was what he was always thinking of, and why he brought it to all the different, formats of Zumba. So the health benefits, I'm going to talk about that, because if you take Zumba, regular Zumba class, there are fitness parts to that too. So you're dancing, but there are toning pieces to it, where you do squats and lunges and those type of things to tone while you're dancing, maybe 1 or 2 songs. But the health benefits are vast, because if you're looking for cardio fitness, you're going to get it in a Zumba class. You are going, as you progress, because you will progress if you keep coming back. I used to have people, and still have people, they always ask me, how can I lose weight? What do I need? So say that's your goal. You want to lose weight. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to lose weight? I'm really struggling. And they're new to the class. My answer to them was, just don't stop coming. Keep coming to class and you will see a change. And I have helped numerous people shed a lot of weight in class, and several was over 100 pounds. So I'm super proud of being able to lead a class that was, engaging enough for these people to want to come back and stayed on course to improve their health. So at such a great degree. So that's an aspect of it. And then again, as I mentioned, all the different formats of Zumba, you get the toning, when you're in the water, you have the resistance of the water that is using so you're pushing against the water, which uses a different kind of strength, but it's also strengthening and conditioning yourself. Toning, you're toning your muscles with Zumba toning. Step class, you're toning your lower body. That's very lower body focused. And so you're toning with the step. The HIIT class is the perfect combination. The Strong class is a perfect combination of both. The Gold class, again, you get all the health benefits, but just taken down a little bit to accommodate any restrictions that, individuals may have. So there are tremendous health benefits to taking a Zumba class. And I have had people in my class all the way from, high school, right? So 16 years old, all the way up to in their 80s. And they would be in the same class and they would be able to do it at their own pace, and they had fun. And that's going to come into the next part I want to talk about, which is community. Zumba is a movement and it is a community. It is an environment that is very welcoming. And if you feel any, angst about walking into a Zumba fitness class, please know that, I really don't mean this disrespectfully, but that's really in your head, because every person in a Zumba class, when you walk into that class, they were you. They were you once. They walked in there, they didn't know what to expect, and they were nervous, maybe, uncomfortable, because, a lot of people, they want, we feel uncomfortable when we step outside of our box, right? So, you're walking in there with some hesitation, but you've walked through those doors, and that's all you need to know. And that Zumba instructor should welcome you. And, I have found most people, when they're new, they go to the back of the class because they don't want people seeing them misstep or whatever. And, that's fine. And you will find when you take a Zumba class that there are regulars. And this has been the negative connotation that I've read online. When people speak negatively about Zumba, they talk about the front row people and the divas, if you will. And I want to clarify that really that is not who they are. They actually are passionate about Zumba. These people love Zumba. They're probably like I was, before I became an instructor, 9 years, loving it, keep going back because I absolutely love it. But they know the steps. And what they do actually is they actually aid the instructor unknowingly, right? Because if you're in the back of the room and that class is packed, and I've had 50 people in a class before, you can't really see the instructor. I've had that packed class where I was not on a stage, right? So I'm trying to move around so that everybody can see me. But if you can't see me, if you couldn't see me, you could see the people in the front row. You could see the person in front of you, and you could follow them. The Zumba instructor we are taught to face you. That was another one of Beto's things that was different than any other fitness class back in the 80s, 90s when he was teaching. And I was an attendee in classes back then too. That when you took a Zumba, or let's say back then they were aerobic classes, group fitness classes. When you had an instructor back then, that instructor was facing the mirror like everybody else. So you were looking at the back of the instructor, and you were following the instructor just as they were doing it. And when Beto started teaching, he faced the people. He's like, I don't want my back to you. I want to see your faces, right? Well, you have to be able to reverse now what you're teaching, and that is a skill set. And the recipients, so the students sometimes really can't understand when the instructor is facing you, right? And they say, go right. They're like, wait a minute, how do I, so sometimes a Zumba instructor will flip around so that you get what they're saying, so that when they turn back around, you know the steps, because as I said earlier, those steps are going to repeat, right? So the first time you saw it that way, then they turn back around. And so a Zumba instructor is usually moving around the classroom, right? Because I can share with you that everyone receives information differently. And Zumba taught me this. Zumba taught me to be a really great leader. And I learned from people and I paid attention, right? So as I just shared, some people don't understand mirroring. Their brain just doesn't really process that well. They need to do it just like you. They can't flip it in their head. So if they see you do it once, then they can kind of catch it. But then also, as I mentioned, the people in the front, if they can't follow the instructor because they're getting confused, they can look at the person in front of them because the person in front of them is doing it. So I would like to resume talking about the people in the front room of the classroom, the people in the front row, those that are described as divas out there on social media. They are furthest from divas. They are actually there, as I was saying, to aid the instructor unknowingly to them, unbeknownst to them, because they know the moves. They've been coming a long time. And the moves, meaning they know salsa, merengue, reggaeton, cumbia. They know the steps, and those steps never change, so they know it. And so they aid the instructor with new people and anyone in the class who may forget the steps or they can't see the instructor. So they're a secondary level of, instructors that they're not the instructors, but they know the moves and you can follow along with them. And so they help in instances where people can't see the instructor. They might, like I said, not have a stage, like I didn't have one, where you're up high, right? So stage means you're up high and you're above the crowd and they can look up and they can see your feet. Because with Zumba, they have to be able to see your feet, which makes me, then I'm going to dovetail into the clothes that we wear and our feet, right? Because other fitness instructors, I've been part of this world for 2 decades, and I've heard a lot of things directly from other instructors and secondary from other people. And you read things on social media, which I kind of laugh at, because unless you're part of the community, you really don't understand the reason behind why we do what we do in Zumba. So I will start with the shoes. we wear a lot of neon colors, and Zumba's logo is neon, right? It's the neon green, yellow color, and we have neon, right? So it's pink and purple and green, and the neon shoes actually bring attention to your feet because you're following the instructor. So you need to see their feet so that you can see what they're doing so that you can then do that yourself. So that is why Zumba instructors have very colorful shoes most of the time, because we're bringing attention to where we want your eyes to go. And I will then say that the bracelets that we wear, okay, the colored bracelets that we wear that people have made fun of too. Oh, Zumba instructors wear plastic rubber bracelets around their wrist like it's like a goofy thing. It's actually, there's a meaning and intention behind everything we do. So the colors on the bracelet and wearing a sleeve almost of bracelets is how we cue, right? So if I'm going to hold my hand up to show you that we're going to switch now, we're going to switch to the verse, right? We're going to switch from the choreo, from the chorus to the verse. I'm going to raise my hand. That's how I get your attention. And you can see my hand. If I have all these colorful things on my wrist, you can see my hand. You might not see my face, you might not see my feet, but you can see my hand, and you can see that I'm pointing you into another direction. So these are all different ways that instructors and items that we use to help us help our students feel like they're part of the class, they can follow the class, they understand where we're going. Because if I'm saying this way and you can't see my hand and you go the other way, you're not going to feel like you're part of the class, right? It's going to make you feel like you're missing something, and we don't want to do that. So these aid in that. And then our clothes, we stand out in our clothes. Zumba has a vibe, and it is because we don't want to look like any other instructors. We're going to a party, and we are going to dress for the occasion. And that is why our clothes are loud, and they're, torn sometimes because it's a reggaeton kind of look, but it's all intentional. It is all because of the brand and the messaging and what we're trying to do. It is a movement, and we are not like any other fitness class. There's not, going in there with seriousness. Now, the seriousness is that the instructor is always looking at everyone to make sure that they're safe, right? We want to make sure that no one gets injured. Everyone has enough room. And that is why we have things that make you focus on what we're doing so that we can control where everybody's going, so that they're not clashing into each other or moving in the wrong direction. The instructor is constantly trying to cue. And, because the music is loud and you're not hearing us, okay, that's another Beto training that is different from any other fitness organization, is that we don't talk much in class. And so your Zumba instructor shouldn't really be talking much. You should be able to follow the person without any verbal cues, because the music is loud and you need to be able to see, and the instructor is cueing you on what to do, pointing you to the front, pointing you to go forward, calling you forward, pushing you back, telling you to stop. They're cueing you the entire time, where they don't really need to speak. A good instructor can instruct the whole class without any words, and Beto actually will instruct with just a movement of the head. So he's going to look right, and you're going to know that we're going right now. He's really incredible to watch. So, like I said, I've learned from the best, which is him. And that is how I've honed my skills as a fitness instructor. So I wanted to demystify that it is, not a safe environment. It is not really considered a fitness, where it really is a fitness, and it is worldwide. And when you take a Zumba class in your community, know that thousands of Zumba classes have been held that same day, and people all over the world are taking Zumba classes. They are in the millions. And, the music is the same, and people love it, and it is a movement because of that. It is not a fad. It is a movement, and people have benefited from it for the reasons I stated earlier. It is easy. Everyone can do it. If you keep coming back, like with anything, you're going to learn it. You're going to get better at it. You're going to understand what salsa is, because not all of us come from a Latin background. And the foundation of Zumba is Latin. Beto Perez is a Latin person. So this is the foundation of it. So we have to learn it, and we have to learn what it is. And once we learn it, then it's just going to come with every song, and there are modifications to it. And you don't have to take it high. If some instructors, they will have levels. Like I said earlier, you can, take it down. You have options where you can do it down at a lower impact, or you can take it up and get your heart rate really up high. That is your choice, and you should be shown the choices to make, and then you go at your own pace. You want to come to class equipped. So you want to wear the proper clothing that are loose fitting, not constricting, that you can move in. You want to have good shoes on, and we always recommend Zumba shoes because they have a pivot on. If you look at the heel of the shoe, there's like a little round circle embedded in the shoe, which actually helps you pivot. Because we're going to turn around in different cases, or doing a cumbia or whatever. It actually helps, but if you don't have Zumba shoes, you just want to have good supportive shoes on that you can move in those shoes on the floor. And you want to bring a towel because you will sweat in the class, and you want to bring a water bottle. I will say that most classes, I know my class, I've always said that once I press the play button, it doesn't stop. It's going to run through. Most classes are 1 hour, and it will run for the hour. And if you need to take a break, you take that at your own discretion, right? If you feel like you need to stop and get a sip of water, take a breath, you just move yourself out of the, onto the side of the room so that you're not, impinging in anyone else's way, so they can continue with the song. And sometimes there is a break in between the song where I'll say, if you want to get a drink, grab it now, because you have those, maybe 30 seconds to go get a drink and come back. So the instructor will lead you when they know their playlist and they know when there are breaks. But you are always welcome to go at your own pace and take breaks as you need them. And as you build up your endurance and cardiovascular in the program, you will, then be able to, enjoy it and sustain, it longer. Some people will say, oh my gosh, that class was so hard to do. I couldn't even last after 5 minutes. Okay, that's because your intensity was way too high. You went out the gate way too high. Another thing that I learned from Beto Perez with Zumba, and be mindful of this when you go into a class, is that the warm-up is 11 minutes. Warm-up takes 11 minutes to warm up your body from walking in the door to going into the cardio part of it. So every Zumba class should have intervals where you have an 11-minute warm-up. Warm-ups are repetitive. You're going to do the same movement over and over again because you're warming up your body to get ready for, you're going to do 50 minutes of straight dancing, 49 minutes of dancing. So you want to warm up your body so that again, to prevent any injury, you want to warm up your body. And then you will move to, you'll start with the salsa most likely, and then, merengue, reggaeton, and cumbia usually are right out the gate so that you learn the songs from the beginning of class, and then those could be repeated. So you could have 2 of those throughout the class. And then my classes always we gradually work up into a cardio section where we stay in high cardio for maybe 3-4 songs, maybe. It just depends on the class. Sometimes, if they have been coming a long time and they want more cardio, I'll say 5 songs at that high cardio. Then we come back down, bring the heart rate back down, not all the way down, just lower. We take it back up, and then that is the interval training. You take it up, you take it back down, you take it up, stay up there a little bit, then you bring it back down. And then, I might end with a squat song. You can do squats, and then maybe, a lunge song, something like that, to do some toning, and then the cool down. So that is pretty much your class, and that should be the class for most people. You should not walk into a Zumba class and it be an entire hip hop class. You should not walk into a Zumba class and it is entire salsa class. Zumba is about taking you around the world. And that was my playlist, always was the playlist to take you around the world. I wanted to start with the Latin music. I would throw in a rock song, a country song, a samba song from Brazil. You could do all different kinds of songs, to bring people around the world in your journey, in your class. You're taking them to different genres of music, and then you circle them back to the end where you could end again with a, bachata or something that's a very calming song, but it is Latin inspired as well. So that is really the program. I will again just reiterate that the health benefits of it are immense. And I think just like meditation and prayer and sleeping and taking care of yourself, everyone should try a Zumba class at least once in their life. You should try it, and don't let the naysayers deter you from taking the class. Walk in and try it, and then, see what you like. They have a lot to offer. Like I mentioned, there are all different kinds of classes that you could take. And if you're looking to find a community, if you're looking to find like-minded people, I have seen so many friendships start in a Zumba class, and they've lasted for years. And I will tell you this story really quickly. I took my first Zumba class, 20 years ago. And then I moved to another gym after that. So I will say that it's been a good, oh gosh, maybe 16 years of taking Zumba. And a woman that I met in the class 16 years ago, we became friends. Then I went off to become a Zumba instructor, and I never actually saw her again after, I became a Zumba instructor, because I was going and teaching in other gyms and not at the gym that I had taken for years and taken classes there, neither gym. But I never taught at either one of those gyms. I taught elsewhere. And this woman and I, we were friends and we exchanged numbers. And to this day, and I haven't seen her in years, but to this day, we never miss sending each other an acknowledgement of any holiday, whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Easter, it doesn't matter. A text will always come from her, or I'll send it to her. She's actually better than me. And it's the one thing that we've kept all of these years, is that I haven't seen her in I don't know how long, but I always wish her happy Mother's Day, or, happy holiday, whatever it is. And I ask, how she's doing and how her family is. And I just send her well wishes. To me, that is such a powerful relationship that was formed in a Zumba class. And I have many stories that I could tell you from my own personal self, that I've met people in the class and have been friends with for a very long time, and that they've met each other and that they've been friends for a very long time outside of me, that people connected. And that Zumba has transformed a lot of people's lives, people that, maybe had a lot to lose weight-wise and didn't think that there was a fitness class for them. And they were maybe shunned out of a bike, cycling class, or a cardio fitness class, or a pump class, or any kind of class out there that has a different environment that might be more, competitive in nature, that didn't just suit them well, and they just gave up on the gym because they didn't feel welcomed. Zumba is not that environment. Zumba is a party. It invites everyone to join it, and that is the beauty of it. I have had different fitness instructors be condescending towards me when I would say, well, I'm a Zumba instructor, and they would look at me like, oh, you're not really an instructor then, And I'm like, there is a lot of training that's involved in all the classes that we teach, and there is a lot of knowledge that you have to have. I will tell you, you have to be able to, not only you have to learn the music, you have to learn every beat of that song, and you can have 16 songs on your playlist. Imagine this. You have to know 16 songs, every beat of 16 songs. You have to know every verse, every chorus, every run, every intro, every outro, every step that goes with every song to the beat. And you have to be able to cue it. You have to be able to reverse it. You have to be able to count it. You have to be able to sound it out for people. You have to be able to visually let them see you, so that you can get an entire room synced to a song 16 times in one class. And you have dozens of playlists, dozens of songs. There is a lot of memory retention. And really, for me, it was passion. I never became a fitness instructor, Zumba fitness instructor, for the money. I became a fitness instructor because of my passion and desire to help people in my community get healthier. And I saw the effects of it on my own self, in my own journey, but I saw it magnified when I became an instructor. And I showed up, I had my own classes on a regular basis, but I also subbed elsewhere. And I just saw the love of community and the people that I subbed. When you have a sub in a Zumba class, I will share this last thing before I end the podcast. But Zumba is a very loyal following too. There are people that are very loyal to their instructor. Very loyal. And so, like I mentioned earlier, you have to find the instructor that you connect with that makes you want to keep coming back, right? That is key. It's essential. You have to have a connection with the instructor. But it gets to be so that you have helped this person so much in their life that you are their only instructor. So they really have become accustomed to you, your style, your music, your cueing. Everything about you has benefited them, but they've actually become a very good student of yours. So much so, I've mentored 13 students of mine to become fitness instructors, which I'm very proud of. But that you've helped them so much that when you have to take a day off and you have to go on vacation and you get a sub, they're like, oh no. Oh no, I don't know how I'm going to like another instructor. So I've always said to my class, please do not skip class because I'm not here. Give another instructor a chance. And what they loved about it was actually my students who became instructors then became my sub were kind of like mini me's, right? They taught a lot like I did. They were very similar to me, and they had their own flavor and take. But then the students in the class loved that because it was close enough to what they were comfortable with that they came. But I will tell you that some places that I've gone, I would walk into the room and introduce myself and say, I'm subbing for so-and-so today. I hope you enjoy my flavor. They would just bounce out the door. Like people would just bounce out the door like, yeah, I'm not even giving you a shot, So, I never took offense to it because I understand how some people are and they only want their instructor. I always tried to give my class a heads up, but sometimes you can't give them a heads up that you're not going to be there. But you don't want to actually sometimes give them a heads up because ultimately the class is for them. A really good instructor understands that the class is for your student. It is not for you. It is for your student. It is not your workout. You are there to give them a great workout. So, if I gave a heads up, then they would maybe plan not to come. And I want them to get their fitness in for the week. So, I may or may not share that I'm going to be there. Most of the time I kind of did because I would be gone for, I had 6 classes. So it would be 6 classes that I wouldn't be there for. So they had to know. But again, I always encourage them, please give the instructor a chance, please, because, and I will say this too, and I'm going to close out now, but I'm going to say this too, when you walk into a class, if you are a regular Zumba person, or, you want to try another gym, or say you moved, right, and you went to another class, or say you have a sub that came to teach your class, please give them the hour of your time, because there are 16 songs on a playlist, and you may not have liked the first song or the second song or the third song, but you might have liked the fourth song. The fourth song might have been your favorite song in the whole world, and then you got to dance to it. And then, the playlist gets better. So that's what I always try to tell people is that there are a lot of songs on the playlist. You might not like them all, but there's going to be something there for you. There's going to be a song, a dance move. There's going to be something that you're going to connect with. So give it a shot, because when you walk out of a fitness class, and I don't care what class it is, any fitness class, when you walk out of it before you have committed to the class, when you drove to the gym and you walked in the door, you were committed to that class until whatever happened, your instructor wasn't there, and then you had a mind shift in your in your head. You're really quitting on yourself, because when you walked into that class, you were committed to that workout for that day, and in your head you just discounted this new instructor because it was something different for you and you didn't want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Additionally, I will say that instructors need, I can't thank the people that gave me their patience and grace when I first became an instructor, because going from student to instructor is a completely different experience, and it's very nerve-wracking for all the reasons I said. You have to know the music to the beat, you have to know the steps to the verse to the chorus, you have to be able to teach it, flip it, you have to be able to cue it. There's all these things that you have to know, and it's a lot to go on your mind when you're new and you're nervous. And the people that were patient with me, I am forever grateful for, because the people that wrote it out with me and were patient, knowing that I was trying to learn, gave me a 10-year career as a Zumba instructor. If they would have been harsh with me, I probably would have quit on myself. So if I was new and I was walking to class to teach and everybody walked out on me, I don't know that I would have continued. You really have to be really strong to keep going, and knowing that, well, this group of people maybe were not so nice, but the next group of people will be. So again, when I mentor Zumba instructors, I let them share the stage with me. I let them feel comfortable with me, and that allows the people in the room to get to know them, so that when they are the sub and they have it all themselves, to the class to themselves, that, it's not foreign, that they've had that connection before. So anyway, I know that this is a really long podcast because I had a lot to say about Zumba, why Zumba Fitness, and why I believe every person in the world should try a Zumba Fitness class in their lifetime, because you don't know what you're missing. It is a wonderful fitness outlet and community, and the health benefits are immense, and I don't want you to miss out. So again, I hope that this podcast was beneficial in educating you with items that maybe you didn't know about Zumba or the instructors. And I can't wait. Please leave a comment if this podcast inspired you to take a class or resume back to Zumba Fitness. I'd love to hear your story, and your story actually helps other people. So please don't be shy. Leave a comment. Share this podcast with anyone who might be questioning Zumba Fitness. And, even share it with Beto Perez if you happen to know him, because I'm a big advocate for Zumba. I always have been, and I always will be. So let this inspire you today.